First question says, write the following numbers in order. Start with the lowest number. So lowest number over here is -3. Then we have -1, then 2, 4, and 7. Question 2 says, change 5,000 milliliters to liters. So 1 liter equals to 1,000 milliliters. 1 milliliter equals to 1 over 1,000 liters. So 5,000 milliliters, we'll divide 5,000 by 1,000, and that gives us 5 liters. That's our answer. Question 3 says, write 31 over 100 as a decimal. So always remember that every whole number has a decimal at its end, whether it's written or not written. So there's a decimal over here, and we're going to move that decimal 2 places to the left. Why 2 places to the left? Because we're dividing by 100, and 100 has 2 zeros. So 0.31. Then it says, write down the multiple of 7 that is between 30 and 40, 35. Why? Because 5 times 7 is 35. A very common mistake kids do is that they confuse what a multiple is and a factor is. A factor is the two numbers that we multiply, and multiple is the result of that product. So if we look at 5 times 7, which is 35, 35 is a multiple, and 5 and 7 are factors of 35. Then question 5 says, complete the statement below to make it correct. Something times m equals to 2m. So that's going to be 2, because 2 times m is 2m. Question 6 says, Ben sells houses. The pictogram shows information about the number of houses Ben sold in each of the first 3 months of last year. So we have 1, 2, 3, 4, 5 months. And the key says that one complete square, the box, represents 4 houses. Write in the number of houses Ben sold in January. So as we can see, we have 2 complete boxes. So 4, 4, and then a half, that's 2. So 4 plus 4 is 8, and 8 plus 2 is 10. So he sold 10 houses. Then it says, in April, Ben sold 11 houses. Show this information on the pictogram. So we'll draw 2 complete ones, and the third one is going to be a quarter. And the third is going to be a 3/4. Then it says Ben sold a total of 60 houses in the first 5 months of last year. Work out the number of houses Ben sold in May. So let's first write the number of houses for each month. We have 10 for January. For Feb, it's going to be 9, because 4, 4, and 1. For March, it's 12, because all complete. April is 11, and May is what we need to find. So we're going to subtract these from 60. So for May, it's going to be 60 minus 10 minus 9 minus 11 minus 12, and that gives us 18. So 18 houses were sold in May. Question 7 says, measure the length of this line. Give your answer in centimeters. So to measure this, you're just directly going to use your ruler. Put the 0 mark on one end and then see what the length of the line is. Part B says, measure the size of the angle marked X. For this, you will use your protractor. You will put your protractor on either of these lines and see what the size of the angle is. Then it says, in the space below, draw a hexagon. So a hexagon is a shape that has 6 sides. So this is our hexagon. Question 8 says, the points A and B are shown on the grid. Write in the coordinates of the point A. So coordinates are ordered pairs where we write the x value first, then the y value. So this is our x value for A, and this is our y value for A. So that's going to be 2, 1. Then it says, find the coordinates of the midpoint of AB. So for the midpoint of AB, this is our line AB, and midpoint is this. So we can clearly see that our coordinates are 0, -2. Part C is on the grid, mark with the cross X the point with coordinates -4, 2. Label this point C. So -4, 2 means X is -4, Y is +2. So that is over here. Question 9 says, Anil has a job as a driver. He is paid for each mile he drives. He's also paid expenses. 1 week, Anil writes down the distance readings from his car. Start of the week, the reading is 47,241. And end of the week, the reading is 47,879 miles. For this week, Anil is paid 47 pence for each mile he drives. He's also paid expenses of 80 pounds. Work out the total amount that Anil is paid. Give your answer in pounds. So to find the number of miles, we'll subtract the two. So 47,879 minus 47,241. That gives us 638 miles. Now he's paid 47 pence for each mile. So if we convert the 47 pence into pounds, that's going to be 0.47 pounds. So total pay is going to be 80 pounds, which is what is paid for expenses, plus 0.47 times 638. So that's going to be 379.86 pounds. Question 10 says, Anita throws a coin 3 times. Each time the coin lands on heads or tails, list all the possible outcomes. So if she's throwing the coin 3 times, she can get all heads. Then she can get all tails. She can get heads first and then 2 tails. 2 heads and then last tails. Then a tails, heads, and a tails. 2 tails and a head. And head, tails, head. And lastly, tails, heads, heads. So these are all the possible outcomes she can get. Question 11 says, Majid has a spinner. Majid is going to spin the arrow. The arrow can land on 1 or on 2 or on 3. Majid says the probability that the arrow will land on 2 is 1/3 because the spinner has 3 sections. Is Majid correct? You must give reason for your answer. So if you look at the spinner, we can see that the angle for section 2 is 90. So the probability of getting a 2 would be 90 divided by 360, which is 1/4, which does not match with Majid's probability, which is 1/3. So no, because the probability to land on 2 is 90/360, which equals to 1/4. So that's your answer. Question 12 says, Syra buys 24 bars of chocolate. 2/3 of the 24 bars are white chocolate. The rest of the 24 bars are milk chocolate. Each milk chocolate bar has a weight of 35 grams. Work out the total weight of the milk chocolate bars that Syra buys. So 2/3 of the 24 bars are white chocolate. So white chocolate is going to be 24 times 2/3, which is going to give us 16 chocolates. Then it says the rest of the 24 bars are milk chocolate. So that means 1/3 of 24, just 8. These are the milk chocolates. Each milk bar has a weight of 35 grams. So total weight is going to be 35 times 8, which is going to give us 280 grams. Question 13 says simplify 2c times 3d. So that's going to be 6cd. We multiply 2 with 3, which is 6, and c times d is cd. Then it says t equals to x plus 2y, where x equals to 3 and y equals to -4. Work out the value of t. So t equals to 3 plus 2 times -4. That's 3 minus 8, and that's -5. That's your answer. Question 14 says, on Monday, Lizzie cycled 36 kilometers in 3 hours. Work out Lizzie's average speed. So average speed is basically your distance divided by time. So 36 divided by 3, and that is 12 kilometers per hour. Then it says on Tuesday, Lizzie cycled 36 kilometers at an average speed of 16 kilometers per hour. Lizzie says that the total time she cycled on Monday and Tuesday was less than 5 hours and 20 minutes. Is Lizzie correct? You must show how you get your answer. So let's first find the time for Tuesday. So time is going to be distance divided by speed. So 36 over 16. And that is going to give us 904 hours. So previously she cycled for 3 hours. So total time is going to be 3 plus 9/4, which is 12 plus 9/4, and that is 21/4. So this is still in hours, so in minutes. So if we convert this into mixed numbers, that's going to be 5 whole number 1/4. So that in hours and minutes is going to be 5 hours and 15 minutes. So as we can see, that is less than 5 hours and 20. So is Lizzie correct? Yes, she is. Because she cycled for 5 hours and 15 minutes. Question 15 says 3,500 pounds is invested in a bank for 6 years. The bank pays simple interest at a rate of 2.5% per year. Work out the total amount of simple interest paid. So for simple interest, the formula is principal amount times rate of interest times the number of years. So principal amount is 3,500. Rate of interest is 2.5 over 100. Always write it as a fraction. And time is 6. So when you multiply this, what we get is 525 pounds. That is your simple interest. Question 6 says you can use this graph to change between ounces and grams. So change 6 ounces to grams. So you draw a line from 6 ounces and you go to grams, and that is going to give you a value of, so 6 ounces gives us 170 grams. Then it says change 1 kg to ounces. So 1 kg is 1000 grams. So since 1 kg is equal to 1000 grams, since 1 kg equals to 1000 grams, what we can do is we can find the value for 100 grams. So 100 grams is over here. And that is giving us 3.5. So for 100 grams, it's 3.5 ounces. So for 1000, it's going to be 3.5 times 10, and that is 35 ounces. So 1000 grams is equal to 35 ounces. Question 17 says here's a triangle ABC. The region R consists of all points inside the triangle that are less than 4 centimeters from A and closer to C than to B. And the diagram show by shading a region R. So I'm going to show you how to solve like this constructions question. So it said that it's like 4 centimeters, less than 4 centimeters from A. So what we do is we take our ruler, take our compass, open it to 4 centimeters. And then from point A, which is over here, we will draw an arc of 4 centimeters. So this. Now, once again, since I've just roughly drawn this triangle, so the triangle is inaccurate, but to know how to construct this, the method is exactly the same. So this is our 4 centimeters from A. It's closer to C than to B. So if it's closer to C than to B, then what we're going to do over here is let's mark C. So now if we draw the locus for that, it's closer to C than to B. For that, what we're going to do is we're going to first measure the distance of CB. For me, it's coming out to be 9.7. So we're going to draw a perpendicular bisector of CB. So we need to find a distance that's less than half of the distance. So if the total distance of CB is 9.7 for this triangle, half of 9.7 will be 4.85. So less than 4.85. Let's say pick 4.5. So we're going to put our compass over here and open it to length of 4.5 because that is less than half. So now we're going to draw two arcs, one from C, which will be above and below the line, and then one from point B. So that's also going to be like this. So now once you've drawn the arcs, we're going to use the ruler to draw the line that passes through the intersection of these two arcs. This is our perpendicular. This is our perpendicular bisector. So since the point was less than 4 centimeters away, since the region R consists of all points inside the triangle that are less than 4 centimeters from A and closer to C than to B, so it's going to be less than 4 centimeters away is over here and closer to B than to C, so it's going to be, if I shade the region, it's basically this region. This region is less than 4 centimeters from A and it's closer to C than to B. So this is region R. So this is how you would draw the construction for this question. Question 18 says Mrs. Simpson organized a school trip for 66 children. The total cost of the trip was £1,800. The school paid 56% of the total cost. The rest of the total cost was divided equally between the 66 children. Work out how much money each child paid. So what we're going to do over here is that let's first find how much the school paid. So cost paid by school, that's going to be 56 over 100 times 1,800, and that gives us 1,008 pounds. How much will each child pay? So each child will pay the difference of the total cost and what is paid by the school divided by the number of children, which is 66. So that is going to be 12 pounds. Then it says that work out the value of root of 35.2 plus 1.7 cube divided by 4.6 square minus 8.91. Write down all the numbers on a calculator display. So Plug this into your calculator, and what you'd get is 0.5170189758681. Then it says write your answer to part A correct to two significant figures. So that's going to be 0.52. Remember, in significant figures, your 0 before the decimal are not counted in significant numbers. And or like even the ones before the number, they're not counted. Like, for example, if a 0.05, this number is correct to one significant figure. And the one significant figure is 5, not the 0 before that. So first two significant figures are these two. So we round this based on the third digit, which is 7. Since 7 is bigger than 5, so 1 rounds up. So it becomes 0.52. Question 20 says, ABC is a right angle triangle. Work out the length of CP. So you have the hypotenuse, you have the other length. So to find the missing length, we can easily use Pythagoras. Hypotenuse square equals to 10 square plus CB square, which is going to be 19 square minus 10 square being square rooted. And that gives us 16.2 centimeters. Correct to three significant figures. Question 21, A says write 90 as a product of its prime factors. So let's break down 90. 90 is 9 times 10. 9 is 3 times 3. And 10 is 5 times 2. 3, 5, and 2 are prime numbers. So we can rewrite this as 2 times 3 square times 5. That is your answer. Then it says A equals to 2 square times 3, B equals to 2 times 3 square. Write down the lowest common multiple of A and B. So for the lowest common multiple, you look at the highest powers for each number. So that's 2 square for 2 and 3 square for 3. So 2 square times 3 square, that's 4 times 9, and that's 36. That's your LCM. Question 22 says the number of hours H that some machines take to make 5,000 bottles is given by H equals to 72 over N, where N is the number of machines. On Monday, 6 machines made 5,000 bottles. On Tuesday, 9 machines made 5,000 bottles. The machines took more time to make the bottles on Monday than on Tuesday. How much more time? So to calculate that, let's find the number of hours for Monday. 72 divided by 6, that's 9. That's 12. And then for Tuesday, 72 divided by 9, which is 8. So how much more time? That's going to be 12 minus 8, and that is 4 hours. Question 23 says there are only red discs, blue discs, and yellow discs in a bag. There are 24 yellow discs in the bag. Mel is going to take at random a disc from the bag. The probability that the disc will be yellow is 0.16. The number of red discs is to number of blue discs is 5:4. Work out the number of red discs in the bag. So what we're going to do over here is that we know that the probability of the yellow disc is 0.16. So 0.16 is equal to number of yellow discs, and that's divided by 0.16 equals to the probability of yellow discs. So that's going to be 24, which is the number of yellow discs divided by the total. So total is going to be 24 divided by 0.16, which basically gives us 150. That is the total number of discs. So we have to work out the number of red discs. So first, let's subtract 24 from 150 to get the number of red and blue discs. So 150 minus 24, and that is 126. Now this is the total number of red and blue discs. So the number of red discs is going to be 5 nines of 126. 5 over 9 is found using this ratio. For the denominator, we added the numbers in the ratio. So 5 plus 4, 9. And numerator is the number of red in the ratio. So 5 over 9 times 126, that's 70. So 70 red discs in the bag. Question 24 says complete the table of values for y equals to x squared minus x. So we'll simply substitute the values of x in the equation to find the corresponding y value. When x is -1, y is equal to 2. When x is 1, y is equal to 0. When x is 3, y is equal to 6. So now we plot these points on the graph. So let's write down the coordinates. -2, 6, -1, 2, 0, 0, 1, 0, 2, 2, and 3, 6. So -2, 6 is over here. -1, 2 is over here. 0, 0, 1, 0, and 2, 2, and lastly 3, 6. So if you join the points, that's our quadratic graph. Use your graph to find estimates for the solution of the equation when x squared minus x equals to 4, which means we'll draw a line at y equals to 4. That is giving us these two values. So that's -1.6 over here and 2.6 over here. These are your values of x. Question 25 says Andy, Luke, and Tina share some sweets in the ratio 1:6:14. Tina gives 3/7 of his sweets to Andy. Tina then gives 12.5% of the rest of his sweets to Luke. Tina says now all three of us have the same number of sweets. Is she correct? You must show how you get your answer. So firstly, if we make the fraction for Andy using the ratio, that's going to be 1/21. Then for Luke, that's going to be 6/21. And Tina is going to be 14/21. Now, if Tina is giving 3/7 of her sweets to Andy, so that's going to be 14/21 times 3/7, which is basically going to give us 6/21, which simplifies to 2/7. So this is what she's given to Andy. Given to Andy. So now new Andy is going to be 1/21 plus 2/7, which will give us, which will be 7/21. Now we move on to Luke. Tina then gives 12.5% of the rest of his sweets to Luke. So rest Tina is going to be 14/21 minus 6/21, which is 8/21. This is what Tina is left with. So now she's giving the rest 12.5% of the rest of the sweets to Luke. Luke is going to be 8/21 times 12.5/100, which is going to give us 1/21. So new number for Luke is going to be 1/21 plus 6/21, which is 7/21. Now let me just highlight this. New for Randy is 7/21. New for Luke is 7/21. Now we need to find what's the new amount for Tina. So new Tina is going to be 8/21 minus 1/21, which is also 7/21. We can clearly see that once all the sweets have been reshared based on information, all three of them have the same fraction, which is 7 over 21. So 7 over 21 is to 7 over 21 is to 7 over 21, which is basically 1 is to 1 is to 1. So is Tina correct? Yes, she is. Question 26 says ABCD is a quadrilateral. All angles are measured in degrees. Show that ABCD is a trapezium. So to show that ABCD is a trapezium, we need to remember that when we have parallel lines, like we have these two, so the angles on the transversal, they basically add up to 180. So these two add up to 180 and these two also add up to 180. So what we can do over here is that we can add these up. So it's going to be 4x plus 15 plus 2x plus 15 equal to 180. Like I said, in a trapezium or like in a quadrilateral, when you have two parallel lines and we have a transversal, so the angles on the transversal, they add up to 180. So when we add up these two, it's going to equal to 180. So we collect the like terms, 6x plus 30 equals to 180. And then 6x equals to 180 minus 30, which is 150. And then we divide 150 by 6, and that gives us 25 degrees. Now we can check that with these two as well. So we know 4x plus 8 plus 3x minus 3 would also equal to 180. So 7x plus 5 equals to 180. 7x equals to 175. And x equals to 175 divided by 7, which is also 25. So since sum of angles for a quadrilateral is 360, so if the sum of these two is 180 and these two is 180, then 180 plus 180 is 360. And which is proven from this because from each set we're getting x equals 25. So you can also check by, substituting x equals 25 into these two. This would be 2 times 25 plus 15, which would be 65. And 4 times 25 plus 15, this would be 115. So 115 plus 65 is also 180. So that's correct. Next question says ABC and DEF are two similar isosceles triangles. DE equals to DF. Work out the length of DE. So if they're similar triangles, that means they share a common scale factor. So that means 6 over 1.5 is the same as 8 over DE. Because this length is congruent to this length and this one is congruent to this one. So DE equals to 8 times 1.5 over 6. And that is going to give us 2 centimeter. So that's your answer. Question 28 says the table shows information about the weights of 120 oranges. Find the class interval that contains the median. So median is the middle value. So half of 120 is 60. So the 60th value is going to come in this interval. Why? Because if we add 34 and 29, that is 63. So 60th value is over here. So this is your median interval. Then it says calculate an estimate for the mean weight of 120 oranges, giving your answer correct to 3 significant figures. So for that, we need the midpoint value. Midpoint. So we find the midpoint of each of the class intervals. So that's 75, 125, 175, 225, and 275. So mean is basically sigma fx over sigma f. F is this, x is the midpoint. So you find the sum of the product of the fx values and divide by the sum of frequency. So that's 75 times 34 plus 125 times 29 plus 175 times 27 plus 225 times 19 and plus 275 times 11. All of this is divided by the sum of frequency, which is 120. And that is going to give us the answer of 151.6, which can be rounded to 152, correct to 3 significant figures.